government should listen to us. You heard a Nigerian speaking there on the streets. Is the government listening? Beyond that, what is the government doing to show that it is listening to its people? We have joining us the Minister for Niger Delta Development, Engineer Abubakar Momo from our Abuja studio. Good morning, Engineer Momo. Welcome to the Morning Brief.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure, as I say, your ears are full, hearing from Nigerians their demands on and off the streets, on social media. End bad governance is what they're asking for. Well, you can break it down into different things. End hunger, return petrol subsidy so they can buy petrol at a cheaper price, fix the food inflation so Nigerians can feed themselves, and the list goes on and on. At this stage, how have you been able to internalize this, first as a member of cabinet and someone who, of course, represents a people as well?
Well, thank you very much. It is true that I've listened to what Nigerians have been saying. If you watch carefully, you discover that most of the things that have been said, they are issues that government is already addressing. On the issue of hunger and the rest of them, it is all over, not only in Nigeria, and it's as a result of the world economy changing. Today, in government, a lot of measures have been taken in order to address the issue of hunger. Recently, the federal government has released, suspended tariff on food items. And this will go a long way to addressing some of the challenges we are facing on food security in Nigeria. But the only thing is that it will still take some time for this to materialize, in the sense that you cannot just get this thing done immediately. It will still take some time to import the products and then get things stabilized. And beyond that, I listen to those who have been saying that, particularly the youth, who have been saying that this government is not doing enough and we want things to be done differently and the rest of them. And the summary of everything has to do with the increase in fuel prices. But let me make it clear. I think in Nigeria today, with the withdrawal of subsidy, people should know that, of course, money is now made available to different tiers of government, both the state and local government level. And such money is expected to translate to good governance at that level. For us, at the federal level, a number of issues have been addressed recently. For instance, when there were complaints that fuel, or rather diesel, is being sold at dollar rate to Dangote and other local refineries, Mr. President quickly convened a meeting of the FEC and directed that henceforth, crude oil should be sold to local refineries at the dollar rate. And the purpose of doing that is that with that, it will help to bring a lot of measures in addressing the increase in dollars, the rate of naira to dollar. And what that one is addressed, tremendously, it will help to translate the economy. And at the end of the day, Nigerians will be better for all.
But here
and apart from that, if you watch some of the measures, yes.
Right. You can land on that point before I follow up. You can quickly land on that point, Minister.
You said?
I said you can land on that point before I follow up.
Yes. At least the government is doing a lot. And the moment we're able to stabilize the dollar to the naira, you will discover that a number of issues will come down. And this issue of fuel prices and the rest of them will also reduce from there, because the price of fuel today is as a result of the increase in the in dollar.
All right.
And once this one we're able to address it from this angle, you discover that quite a number of issues will begin to find their level.
Okay, let me just follow up now, Minister. Yes, there's a global reality, but there's also our local reality. Removing subsidy, unifying the exchange rate, that just pushed things above the roof. In fact, beyond the roof, really. So while there's a global challenge, our decisions in-house has also put us where we are right now. And you've talked about some of these measures. Some will say that these measures that are just coming out now should have come with the removal of subsidy rather than wait over a year before these pronouncements are made. So Nigerians will have to wait some more months before they start feeling the impact of some of these measures you speak to. But some of them are meant to be immediate. For example, the federal government has been saying states have been given bags of rice. In your state, Edo State, there's been the controversy, government saying, we did not receive any bag of rice. We've had other state governors also saying, we've not gotten these bags of rice yet. So for the measures that are even meant to be immediate, they are not feeling the impact. Minister.
Well, thank you very much. I think for any governor to say that he has not received trucks of rice, 20 trucks of rice, it's not be fair. In the case of Edo State, you have just measured. Look at what happened. You see, read from social media and the television, how people went into warehouses, broke into warehouses, and brought out these goods. The state governor, for instance, got his own. And I can say in clarity that there are some state governors who, of course, are engineering this process. Because even himself, you have just measured, the governor of Edo State, you have just measured. Recently, when the protest started, he was the one that organized people at the Kick Square, addressed them. And at the end of the day, what did he say? He said, I'm going to carry your message to the federal government. That is to Abuja. We are talking of head of bad governors. The pressure is given is that it is the bad governance is at the doorstep of the federal government. Whereas the resources of this country is being shared among the 3 tiers of government. We should expect such a person to address the problem we have in Edo State. How many roads has he been able to tide? How many erosion problems has he been able to solve? But rather, what he does is that if government brings relief like this, he will back them and put his name. We saw what happened during the COVID, and that is the same thing that is happening today. I watch on the screen so many governors distributing their relief materials, both rice and fertilizer. For instance, I watched the Bayelsa State governor directed that no person in government should get any dime of this rice. And the same thing, some other states that I watched on the television. But in the case of Edo State, there's nothing like that. On the issue of this measure being put in place before the withdrawal of petroleum subsidy, I can tell you that if Mr. President did not withdraw subsidy at that time, it would be very difficult to operate a government. It would be very difficult because the kind of government we inherited is one that certain measures had to be taken. And moreover, he did measure when he was campaigning. And like all others who campaigned that very time, the other presidential candidate, they made it as a point of campaign that the moment they come in, subsidy will be withdrawn from petroleum products. And that was what he did exactly. And I don't think Nigeria, as I can say, should look at that as a thing that perhaps the government did not want to help the people. I think it is in the process of assisting this government and to make sure that things are done in the right way that this is happening. If all these measures that he has taken now, particularly withdrawal of subsidy, have been taken long time ago, we would not have been experiencing this.
All right, Minister,
there are going to be pains, some pains. But going forward, we will definitely go over all this.
All right, Minister, if I'm about it, okay, I'm happy you landed on your thought. My guess is that the Edo State government will have a response to what you just said, because they've come out to say that they've denied all of that. So reiterating it, I guess they'll be able to respond to you at the appropriate time. So let's come to the ministry. Let's come to the commission you superintend as the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs. Let's begin with the good governance in that space, because the perception with the NDDC, excuse me, is that it's alleged to be like a cesspool of corruption. And we've seen that over and over again. So I'm going to ask you questions that border on that. But let's begin with the fundamentals. The NDDC in its composition itself, let's talk about the good governance there. According to the NDDC Act 2000, there should be an MD and 2 executive directors, whether it's in Section 10, Section 2, and a repetition. But now we have 3 executive directors. Can you explain to Nigerians why that is? Or have you observed that to be an aberration or inconsistent with the law that established the commission? That's on one hand. On the other hand, before you come in on board as the NDDC, Niger Delta Affairs Minister, there were investigations of different MDs and administration over corruption. What has happened to those investigations? We remember the off-your-mic incident when current Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, was NDDC minister, and all that played out, and everybody was thinking something will come out of that investigation. We don't think anything came out of it. So what's been going on, sir?
Well, thank you very much. On the issue of the composition of the board, there's nothing that is against the provision of the law. Actually, the original act provided that there should be a managing director and 2 executive directors. But before the composition of the current board, there has been an amendment to that very act by introducing another executive director. So the act as it is today is that there are going to be 3 executive directors along with the managing director. So there's nothing that has been done by this administration in line with the composition that is against the position of the law. Then on the issue of NDDC, as far as the issue of audit report is concerned, I think that audit report was released to government long before we came to this administration came in. And we have been asking for the report in order to implement some of the measures that were stated there. But for me as a minister, that report is still not with us. And we have asked for it. We've not been able to trace that very report. And I've also reported at higher level that this very report that was released even before this administration came in, we've not been able to see it. So I guess people who were in administration before us, they will be in a better position to explain this, because we have done our best and we've not been able to see that very report.
Minister, I don't think Nigerians understand what you're saying. You're the Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, sitting in cabinet with the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the man who was the minister when that audit was carried out is now the Senate President. How on earth can't you find the report?
Well, when I say we don't fight the report, it is not that some of the highlights of the report are not known. We know the some of the highlights on the report, but the report itself, I expected that when I took over, the report would be found within the ministry. But I asked both permanent secretary and those that were there, and they claimed that they have been asking for the report, and they've not been able to see the report. And some of the decisions that were taken at that very time, they are also being gradually implemented today, even without the report. You talk about NDDC being a cesspool of corruption and the rest of them. I will agree with you to some extent that before now, the NDDC has been a cesspool of corruption. And that's why when we took over, we gave a marching order. Having listened to Mr. President and the Mr. President directing on what to do, we gave a marching order that some measures must be taken to address most of the issues that are not well conducted in the Niger Delta Development Affairs. And today, you can agree with me that Niger Delta Development Commission, as it is today, is completely different from what it was in the past. You cannot have a Niger Delta that will invite people to commission projects, legacy projects that we touched on the life of the people of Niger Delta. But before now, it has never been like that. I'm sure in the recent time, you also watch the commissioning of so many projects that we touch on the life of the people. For instance, the Okitipupa electricity project. These are communities, about 5 to 7 local governments that were out of the national grid. And when we came on board, Mr. President directed that all those projects that were built and have not been completed should be completed. And I gave directives to the NDDC. And within a very short time, the Okitipupa project came on board.
Honorable Minister, great achievement that you've mentioned, but I don't think we have left the issue of that report, because the corruption was massive. We even had the NDDC MD fainting at sessions and all of the drama we saw. So can you promise Nigerians right here on television where they are watching you that maybe within a time that you would like to mention, you will get out the details of that report and let Nigerians know what is the content and let Nigerians know what you will do in consonant or in collaboration with the federal government, which you sit in cabinet with, to ensure that those who are, found culpable are brought to book. This is our commonwealth. We cannot have people steal our money, and then the minister, that you as minister, is telling us that you can't find the report or you can't find all the details to be able to execute the things you want to do. Are you able to say that you will be able to get that in the shortest possible time and let Nigerians know what is the content and something has to be done, sir?
Well, of course, if you had listened to me, what I said is that when I came on board, the first thing was to ask for that very report. And now that you have also brought it into focus, we will not relate on finding where the report is and bring it before the government for implementation. And all those who are found culpable, definitely they will be punished. It is not possible to take government money and just go free like that. I can assure you that we will do our best possible to ensure that this report is found at the end of the day, and all those who would have been seen to have taken government money will definitely, and not doing the right thing, will definitely be prosecuted. Well, I can assure you that.
We'll hold on to that because this report, the forensic audit report, was submitted in 2021. Then President Buhari had said implementation had begun in phases in 2022. But just for Nigerians to know, where was this report last seen? Was it with the former minister? Was it at the... where was it last seen, basically? Who are we asking for from this report? Who are we asking from this report, rather?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I've given you a promise on this issue of the report.
All right.
As far as that report is concerned, in a very short moment, we'll get it.
Okay.
And once we get it, Nigerians will be aware of the content and also get it implemented.
All right. Thank you very much for making that commitment, Honorable Minister. And of course, we'll be keeping tabs with you on that one. But
thank you very much.
You made quite wide-ranging comments about what this government is doing. The president did the same thing when he addressed the nation on Sunday, basically reiterating some of the things the government is doing. And they always say that you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. After that presidential speech, the address, a lot of Nigerians said, well, it fell short of their expectations. They were expecting something new, something different, something punchy, something that would really address the demands of the protesters and, by extension, the demands of Nigerians. So don't you think that there should be a change of strategy? Some of these things are in the public domain already. And if you keep saying it and people can't see it, they start thinking, are you trying to take us for granted? So shouldn't there be a change, first of all, in the approach? It's great we're having you talk to us. Secondly, a drastic change in the approach to governance, particularly spending, budgeting, and the general, spending a lot in government, which a lot of people have complained about.
Well, I think in terms of spending a lot in government, if you are following what has happened in this administration, you discover that this administration has introduced a lot of measures in order to cut down expenditure. For instance, for the past 3 to 4 months, no member of this government is allowed to travel outside this country unless on a very, very important assignment. For me talking here, I have been a minister for the past 11 months. It's only one worse that I've traveled out of this country. That was to attend the climate change in Dubai. And because it was very essential to the people of Niger Delta region. I think for us, a lot of measures have been taken in order to address the issue of excessive spending in government. And the only way by which people, of course, will expect that the address will meet their reality is for the president to come out to say, oh, I have reduced the prices of PMS up to a lower level. But one thing is obvious. Let us also look at what is happening in Nigeria in relation to what is also happening in other countries around us and also developed countries. The PMS price as it is today in Nigeria, I think people should understand that in spite of the fact that subsidy has been withdrawn officially, government is still doing a lot to ensure that petroleum prices is still up to the level, not up to what it should have been. Because if you take a look at neighboring countries and the rest of them, the prices of petroleum products, for instance, in Cameroon and the rest of them, is well over 2,000. And government is also doing its best to ensure that the impact is being mitigated on the part of of Nigeria. So I think those who are criticizing the address of Mr. President by telling them what they already know should know too well that as far as that address is concerned, Mr. President was telling the entire country what has been achieved and what he intends to do, and appeal to the masses on the need for dialogue. So I expect that in the process of dialoguing, something good will come out. For instance, when the Nigeria Labour Congress felt very strongly that there's a need to increase the minimum wage, they came and they dialogued with government. And today, the minimum wage is 70,000, from 30,000 to 70,000. That is the product of dialogue. So I believe the masses, particularly those behind this protest, if they come on the right table to dialogue, they should also give government what they think will be the best solution. And government will also look at it. It is not through protest, violent protest, and destroy properties, government properties, and properties of individuals, as we have witnessed.
Honorable Minister,
nobody is against protest.
Honorable Minister, let's speak further into the issue of governance, or bad governance, or good governance. And I would like to stay within where you manage, which is the Niger Delta. A lot of funds have been pushed into the Niger Delta Development Commission. The Niger Delta is still not as developed as it should be. The issue of the East-West Road is still a conversation even in 2024, as against Niger Delta Development Commission that was formed, say, 24 years ago. What, in your estimation, as being a minister in the last 11 months, do you think is wrong? Besides issue of corruption, we know that's a big issue. But what is the missing link that we cannot develop the Niger Delta, which, you know, they call it the goose that lays the golden egg?
Well, I agree with you because I'm from the Niger Delta region, and a lot of money has gone into that region in terms of finances to develop the region. But the question you ask yourself, you may want to ask, is that who are the operators? The operators of the NDDC are from the Niger Delta region. They are the ones operating the administration of the NDDC in the region. I think the missing link is that many people are not aware that when we came on board, Mr. President had a clear focus and he directed on how to do things differently in the Niger Delta region. And that is why the progressive movement you find out today in the administration of the NDDC is completely different from what it was in the past. I call it a movement because before now, there are so many things that have been done that were never contemplated in the past. For instance, when I was mentioning the number of projects that have been commissioned within this very shortest possible time, completed and commissioned, and a number of such projects are also on board. And that is the reason why this year, the 2024 budget, provision have been made by the president to ensure that we have a soft loan to commission all those legacy projects in the Niger Delta region in order to address the issue of abandoned projects here and there. And the issue of corruption and the rest you have said, I agree with you. Right. And that is not in this administration. It is the administration, the past administration. And that's why with this new board in place, a number of measures have been taken to address the issues that our people want to hear. For instance, yesterday, the NDDC has started a program where, of course, the youths and the vulnerable will be paid some stipend of about 50,000 for a period of 1 year and be renewed continuously for more period, depending upon the time such youth could be gainfully employed. Then on the issue of East-West Road, that was my main target when I took over, because the East-West Road, I was there as a member of parliament far back to 2007 when that East-West Road started. And by the time it started, it was under the Ministry of Works. But unfortunately, the Ministry of Works could only do about 8% of that project, as at that time, under the administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo. But thereafter, it was transferred to the Ministry of Niger Delta by the Yaradua administration when he now created the Ministry of Niger Delta. And the Ministry of Niger Delta was able to take that road up to 83% before the road was again handed over to the Ministry of Works in 2000, I think about 2 years ago, handed over to the Ministry of Works. For me, when I took over, the first place to visit was the East-West Road to see how we could talk to government to get the road completed. But I want to tell you now that in spite of the fact that the road has not been completed, a lot of measures are also being put in place to address some of the bad portions of the road. For instance, you could see NDDC working within the axis of Bayelsa and Ahoda. And all other areas that are bad are also being addressed. But the fact remains that it's a road that has been there for a long time, and you know too well that once a road is constructed and it takes about 20 years and the rest of them, it also requires some level of maintenance.
Indeed.
But I can assure you that the East-West Road definitely will come on board, because the President has directed the Minister of Works to take a look at that. And that's why from Element Junction to Petrochemical, a lot of work are going on there in order to address the issue, because that is the worst aspect of the road. So there's a contract that's on tax credits that is going on that road now.
All right. We would like a timeline. It's important to have timelines, because I always say that if things like this are not measurable, they're not time-bound, then we'll just leave it, just to the vagaries of life. So I'd like you to give us a timeline, at least for that East-West Road, because there are protests on that axis, but by the way, so it's like a pointer to what needs to be done. So give us a timeline. And as we begin to wind down, really, you've been in the National Assembly, in the House of Reps. Now you're in the executive, a member of the cabinet. And I know there's been that usual back and forth, almost some sort of Cold War between members of the National Assembly and the executive, ministers particularly. Members of the National Assembly say, no, the ministers are the ones spending a huge chunk of the budget. Nigerians should face them, turn attention to them. It is not us. You have tasted both. And what can you say, particularly as it regards the cost of governance? Do you still see more to be cut, or you think that you are lean enough? And I'm talking for the executive and House of Reps.
Well, I'm not here to draw a joint issue with the National Assembly, although I was a member of the National Assembly on two different terms. And today, I'm a member of Parliament, a member of the FEC, Federal Executive Council. If you are talking in terms of cost in governance, is not only one-sided, because you have at the federal level, you have the executive, you have the legislature, and at the lower level too, you have the governors, and you also have the local government. And all of these are supposed to operate in order to ensure that there's good governance in the country. But for us, at the federal level, a lot of measures have been addressed by this government to cut costs. And I did mention to you just now that no minister can just, as it were in the past, we just travel outside this country if the purpose of that travel is not related to its function that will help to bring good things to the country. So that is one of the measures that is being taken to address the measures to make sure that there's good governance. And beyond that, you can see that this government is doing a lot to make sure that some of those infrastructures that were never attempted in the past are being brought on board.
All right.
In spite of the fact that you did mention the issue of East-West Road just now.
And you are meant to give us a timeline. And you're meant to give us a timeline, Minister, for that East-West Road.
On the East-West Road?
Yes, please, a timeline.
I think on the East-West Road, on the East-West Road, I can assure you that by the grace of God, in the next 1 year, by the time you visit, particularly the LML to petrochemical area, and the holder to the junction of Bayelsa, you will see that that road is made through.
Okay, Honorable Minister,
is going on there.
We have to anchor at this point, but thank you for the timelines you have given us. First, for the NDDC audit report, you said that you'll get back to us as soon as possible on that. For the East-West Road as well, you've given us a timeline, and we appreciate these engagements. I think this is what the people want, to be able to engage with government, ask the questions that are burning in their hearts. We've been speaking with the Minister, Niger Delta Development, Engineer Abubakar Momo. Thank you so much for your time, Minister, on the program.
Thank you very much.
Well, there you have it. That has been our engagement with government at the federal level. But we have an update for you now from Kaduna State. It's meant to be day 6 of the End Bad Governance protest, and we understand that security operatives are enforcing curfew compliance in the state. Shops and markets are shut. The Sheikh Abubakar Gumi Central Market in Kaduna State capital is deserted. It's not what it used to be as a result of the 24-hour curfew imposed yesterday by the state government. And there you have the market. Just take a listen.
Auntie, you don't want finish. You don't finish.
The Katsina State government has relaxed a 24-hour curfew imposed on Dutsima local government area. So those are the latest updates we have for you from across the country, particularly the northern part of the country where we've seen some unrest in the past few days. Of course, we'll be bringing you more updates as they come in from across the country right here on Channels Television.
All right, so those are some of the things we're tracking. And that tracking continues throughout the day.
Yeah.
As far as it develops, whether in Lagos, Abuja, Kaduna, Katsina, Kano, wherever this protest is happening and the activities of the law enforcement agents, we will be covering it for you. And of course, you know, Sunrise Daily is up next. I will take it up from there. I'm Jeffrey Uzamu.
And I'm Kaido Kikelu. Have a great day.